Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome to the Happy Diabetic Kitchen podcast. And in this episode, the tables are turned on me. I'm invited by my son-in-law, Caleb, to be in the interview hot seat. So in this episode, he's going to interview, and I don't know what the questions are. I don't know what he's going to ask. I'm sure it'll be a big surprise for me and hopefully for you. So stay tuned, everybody. It's going to be a great show. We will be right back. Hello, everyone. I am Chef Robert Lewis, the Happy Diabetic. Welcome to the internet's most delicious cooking podcast. I'm here in the kitchen getting ready to explore a healthy diabetic lifestyle. I want to take the mystery out of healthy cooking, explore some amazing foods, and my diabetic journey with all my successes and all my challenges. Let me help you live your best happy diabetic lifestyle. So welcome to the kitchen. And if you're new to the show, I am so happy you're here. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the kitchen.
Hold up. So sorry, Chef, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I know that's rude. I know chefs get mad about that kind of thing. But
yes.
My name is Caleb, as you know, because I'm your son-in-law, and I am here to interview you. Because I think that, you know, as a big time fan of your podcasts, that there is one voice sorely missing from the interview table.
Is that yours?
It's definitely mine. So I want to talk for a long time, and I want you to listen. No, I want everyone,
I always listen.
your fans included,
Yes.
to hear your story, because it is a
Okay.
really tremendous story, and you are the worst self-promoter I've ever met. So I'm going to force you
Okay.
to spend
Let's do
a
it.
bunch of focused time
I'm happy to do it.
self-promoting.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for
happy
having
to
me.
have you in the kitchen.
I'm so excited.
Okay. Let's
Ready?
do it. Yeah,
You sure?
I don't know if I'm ready, but
There's a Freudian therapy couch I brought into your kitchen for today, so if you need to lay down.
is that the one
really
that Tucker the cat
It's
is
the one that
laying
Tucker
on?
the cat is currently on right now.
He is here in the kitchen.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Will you just take us like all the way back to when your food journey began? Like, was there a core memory as a child where you tasted something or had your eyes opened to a type of cuisine that you feel like is the moment Chef Robert was born?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I grew up in a household full of really great cooks, and there was a point in my life when my father was uh, in the hospital, not doing very well. So that left me at home by myself quite often, and I loved to experiment in the kitchen, cooking dinner or breakfast. Or whatever I needed to do. The house was always fully stocked with groceries, but I think I started my love of food with a very basic cheese omelet, which grew into a cheese omelet with strawberry jelly in it. And if you've never had that, don't turn your dial off. It's absolutely amazing. And I just learned how to cook and worked with some folks that were great cooks, and it just got me excited.
That's awesome. So
Yeah.
at what point did you decide I can make a career out of this?
Well, I think for me, after graduating high school, trying to figure out what I was going to do, and really the 4-year college was really not in my DNA. So my brother Howard suggested, hey, I learned about this chef school in New York. Now, keep in mind, I live in California, 3,000 miles away. But he suggested, why don't we apply to this chef school? And that could be something really good for you.
Was he trying to keep you away from Tijuana for a while?
Well, it's possible. It's really possible. The cooking school was the Culinary Institute of America in Hyde Park, New York. I'd never heard about it. And this is now 1975. It's 74, graduating high school.
Do you like to tell people you technically graduated from the CIA?
Yeah, the other CIA.
Yep.
Absolutely. And listen, if they don't ask too many questions, it's great. So I got accepted and off I went. And that's really where my culinary journey began.
So one of my favorite facts about you from your culinary school time is what you studied. The mother sauces, which I had no idea what that meant until my wonderful father-in-law taught me. But maybe, I guess, tell the folks who may not know what the mother sauces are and then why you chose that as a sort of field of study within the culinary world.
You know what? I was fascinated with the idea that 5 basic French sauces called the mother sauces gave birth to hundreds of other sauces. So there's hollandaise and brown sauce and a bechamel and a velouté. I mean, those kinds of sauces create macaroni and cheese, they create duck sauce, and it just goes on and lots of different variations.
So
Yeah,
cool. It's
yeah,
so cool. And you do make a mean bechamel sauce. Am I saying that right?
yeah, sure.
Can you
I
spell
mean,
it?
yes,
It's done. That's bad radio.
Delishou. No.
Okay, so you graduate culinary school. I
Yeah,
assume you graduated. I guess I never have seen
I
your diploma.
I did. I
So
graduated the
okay.
lowest possible honors. You should just turn around.
Okay.
It's right there in the very top.
It's weird to keep it in your kitchen, but yeah.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's my diploma. Yep.
um so first real restaurant job, would that be Chicago? Or did you
So I
do
graduated May 4th, 1976 at 4 in the afternoon. And from there, I really wanted to go back to California, Los Angeles, my home. So I interviewed with the corporate chef at Hyatt Hotels who came to the school to interview prospective uh, applicants. He hired me, and off I went to the Wilshire Hyatt Hotel on Wilshire Avenue in Los Angeles. And that was my
Oh,
first
nice.
real professional, I would call professional job.
What's your like worst memory of that job?
Oh, I don't really have a worst memory. Although I think the worst memory was learning really about the hours that it took. But I one memory I had was it was quarter to 12 midnight on New Year's Eve, and I had to be at work at about 12:30, which meant I celebrated New Year's Eve in my car, and got to the hotel because there was a time when the USC Trojans were in the Rose Bowl like every year.
Hmm.
So they had a big alumni breakfast. So we had to get there by 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning, and start preparing a breakfast buffet for 500 people, alumni, the team. That was probably the most arduous thing. And as I think about it, what was I thinking? Yeah.
And what got you to Chicago then? Because that was also a Hyatt job, right?
Yeah, I worked at the Anaheim Hyatt by Disneyland, the Wilshire Hyatt by Disneyland, and then I had the opportunity with some friends that I knew who were transferred to Chicago. And they said, "Why don't you come to Chicago? I bet we can get you transferred." So, sure enough, I called the chef who'd hired me. He said, "Yeah, we have lots of openings in the Chicagoland area. We'd love to transfer you there." So, I did. And I remember loading up my Fiat 131 with all
Nice.
my belongings, drove to Chicago, celebrated my 21st birthday again in my car at a truck stop. Of course, I'm a California boy, so I had shorts on and I mean, I was pretty cash and got to Chicago in the middle of a snowstorm because it was December. And what was I thinking? I don't even think I had a coat.
All in, how many omelets do you think you made on behalf of the Hyatt
Oh,
organization in your
at least
career?
35,425.
He still
But
makes them.
but here's the problem. I couldn't get anyone to put strawberry jelly in their omelet,
You got to trust the chef.
I guess.
Well, again, another important piece about Chicago was that I think you met someone there that was is today still relatively important in your life. Would
Yeah,
that be?
43 years of marriage. My wife Cindy, we met there. Yeah.
I won't make you tell the story of the note you wrote,
You
but
will or you
no, I
won't?
won't make you
You
do
won't?
it. But
Okay.
I would love to know what part of like how your food skills kind of played a role in your mm, falling in love with Cindy, your courtship of Cindy.
Well, I really wasn't good at anything. I
Okay.
mean, not many things,
Okay.
not many things, right? I mean, the first time we had a date, I thought it was delicious. You'll have to ask Cindy. I made a pepper steak for her. And then through our whole courting situation, I would bring cream puff swans, I would make
Mm.
fruit torts, and that was my love language. I remember one time we cooked dinner together, or I cooked dinner for her, and she was, I think, pretty impressed, or so she said, and maybe even a little bit intimidated. And she said, "Hey, let's go ice skating because that's kind of fun too." So we ate dinner. I can't ice skate. I'd never been on ice skates. It was the most humiliating and humbling thing of my life, but it really leveled the playing field.
It's amazing. So now you've met and married Cindy. You're still in Chicago.
Yes.
At what point do we move from the kitchen to I can't remember what was next, restaurant ownership or corporate
Yeah.
Cracker Barrel stuff?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we got married in Chicago and was transferred with Hyatt Hotels to Des Moines, Iowa. Iowa is Cindy's home state. So Hyatt Hotels had just bought a property in Des Moines and built a brand new restaurant featuring everything duck. ducks on rotisserie. It was called Ducks and Company.
That makes
It was
sense.
a really great concept. And then I was there for a couple years. Our son Jason was born in Des Moines, and then we had a chance to be transferred to the Hyatt Regency in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Again, across the country we go in our 72 Chevy Nova, green Chevy Nova with Jason, and was an executive chef in that Hyatt hotel for a number of years. It was really
Hmm.
an amazing experience.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And what made you ultimately want to get out of the being a chef full time?
Yeah, so I had an opportunity from a recruiter who called me and said, "Hey, there's a fledgling little restaurant company based in Tennessee looking for a director of training to direct their management training school and be their corporate chef." And I said, "Well, I don't know. I'm not really interested in moving to Tennessee. What's the name of the company?" And they said, "Well, it's a little company. They only have 19 restaurants. They're called Cracker Barrel, Old Country Stores. And they want to fly you out this week and interview you and show you around Nashville and see if it's a good fit." So I said, it's worth the travel. Let's go. And yeah, they made me an offer, and I spent 8 years there. It was pretty much an office slash kitchen job,
Yeah.
not a production job, and it was an amazing experience. And the company grew to, I think they had about 200 restaurants when I left.
Wow.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Funny story. When Lauren and I were last in New York for my work, we were out to dinner with some of my like very fancy friends from work, like guys that have been in finance bros, you might call them.
Yeah.
And they were getting to know Lauren, and we were talking about you. You came up, and they had been pretty unemotional, talking about like hedge fund managers and crap like that all night. But then Lauren said, "My dad used to run a Cracker Barrel, like helped him expand." And everyone at the table lit up. They all like grew up in the South, a lot of them. So there's like, "What? No way! Your dad runs
Nice.
Cracker Barrel."
Yeah,
So at least you're famous
yeah.
coast to coast.
It was a great,
Bi-coastal.
yeah, it was a great job. I loved it. I loved it.
What made you kind of get eventually wanted to move out of, I say without naming any names, what
Yes.
made you want to move out of the corporate scene to teaching?
You know what? Before that, though, there was a restaurant ownership component of
Oh,
that.
right.
Yeah. So,
Fancy Perkins.
Fancy Perkins,
Yeah.
exactly right. So, after about 8 years at Cracker Barrel, every chef has this illusion that they should have their own restaurant. So we did, and we moved to Northwest Iowa again, back to the state where Cindy is from, and her parents lived in the neighborhood, and we had a couple restaurants there until one day somebody wanted to buy them, and we moved back to the town that I live right now, Bettendorf, Iowa, and spent 26 years working for a family owned franchise pizza restaurant, 70 locations in 8 different states, um, for the last 26 years. And it was great. It was an
Awesome.
amazing job.
Very cool.
Ran their management training school, corporate
Mhm.
chef, oversaw the franchise division with another gentleman who's a very good friend, Ron Sanger. And
Shout out to
hey,
Ron.
shout out to Ron. I couldn't have done it without him. We were a good partnership team. And yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Is there any other missing piece of your resume before I get into current and future Robert Lewis
Yeah, so
questions?
I think, one of the biggest joys I've ever had was the when I left Happy Joe's, the pizza restaurant. I wouldn't exactly call it retirement, although I'd been there for 26 years. I call it retreading.
Mm-hmm.
And I had an opportunity to take a job as a full-time faculty member at Scott Community College in the Quad Cities, a 5 campus community college location. And we had a very awesome 10,000 square foot culinary arts lab where we had a culinary arts program.
Mm-hmm.
And so I spent 4 years teaching uh, and helping people change their trajectory in a positive way to do something different.
Yeah, it's fun just being in Robert and Cindy's town of Bettendorf. They often will bring us around to different restaurants, and one of my favorite things about going out with you is because I'm, you're not the greatest conversationalist, so it's nice you just disappear into every kitchen we ever go to because there's always some alumni or like some kid that you've kind of helped
Yeah.
like inspire on their own food journey that's now a sous chef here or
Yeah.
opening their own restaurant over here. It's
There's
very
a
cool.
lot of, I take a lot of pride in that.
You can
So
cut out the mean thing I said if you want to.
no, that's all right. No, it's all good. No one loves you more than me.
Okay, so where in that journey did you, in your entire, culinary journey, when did you learn that you were diabetic, type 2 diabetic?
That's a great question. So, I learned it while here in Bettendorf, working at Happy Joe's,
Mm,
and it was 3 decades ago. So almost
wow.
30 years ago, I discovered I was a type 2 diabetic.
What was your like immediate reaction upon hearing that?
Denial. No
Mm,
way. It's just, this is not going to be, I thought to myself, well, this is not going to be the disease for me. I
mm,
mean, what I knew about it and what I heard from the doctors and the dietitians, and diabetic educators, is I had to now watch what I eat
mm-hmm.
and don't eat this and don't smell this and don't get near this and can't eat as much of this as you want. And I thought, well, yeah, nah, this is not going to be the disease for me. And so for about 6 months, went through denial until one day I woke up and Sydney and I both agreed that it's time to make some significant changes.
Hmm.
Things are not going well for me and my diabetes. So I started to take responsibility for my health. And in the midst of that, had an opportunity early on to speak to a group of women in a large women's health fair here in town. I was invited by a local news show to do a cooking demo, a healthy cooking demo.
Hmm.
And long story short, after the cooking demo was done, they gave me a booth to stand behind. I'm not sure what I was going to do, maybe meet and greet people there, but they
Just
gave
eye
me a
candy
booth.
for all the women.
It
Yeah.
could, well, I'm not sure about that. So, but thank you for thinking that. So after my event was done, I walked back to the booth and there was, I don't know, 20, 30 people there standing. And I thought maybe someone had a heart attack or some what happened. And I made my way to my booth. I got behind the booth, turned around and said, "Hi, everybody. How can I help you?" And they were all holding up money saying, "Where do we buy your cookbook?" And I thought to myself, huh, well, that's probably a really good idea. Maybe we should write a cookbook. Maybe there's a way for me to turn my diabetic diagnosis into something that could help people live their best, as I call it today, happy diabetic lifestyle and live healthier.
Yeah. And so the cookbook obviously got you on a bunch of speaking circuits and things like that, but it's now evolved into a a whole online course. Do you want to just give the people a little taste of what's to come
Yeah.
from the Happy Diabetic Chef?
Yeah. Thanks, Caleb. I appreciate you asking. So, yeah, thanks, Caleb. I appreciate you asking. So, Um, at happydiabetic.com, our website, you'll find lots of recipes and our cookbooks are there. We also obviously have a podcast if you don't know, but you're listening to this podcast. So hopefully you do know. I think this is our 91st episode with over 50,000 downloads.
It's amazing.
So all the podcasts live on the website. But for the last year, Sydney and I have been working on what we're calling the Happy Diabetic Chef Academy. And it's 17 video courses along with 8 video recipes about how to eat and live a healthy diabetic lifestyle way of living, strategies. I mean, the idea would be to help you fall in love with cooking at home. And whether you're an expert or a beginner, these courses are perfect for you because I just take you through the ingredients that are the healthiest way to eat healthy and some cooking techniques and some of my favorite recipes where I turn ordinary ingredients into something extraordinary.
It's very cool. Having gotten a sneak peek, they are really, really helpful, even for those of us who are diabetic. The knife skills one I utilize quite often.
Yeah,
I need that
and
help.
they're not expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, we made them affordable for everybody, but really, I just want people, again, to fall in love cooking healthy at home. And it's not difficult, but I've got some tips and tricks that works really great for me. Now, people who listen to this podcast also know I'm not a doctor, dietitian, I'm not a diabetic educator of any kind. I'm just a chef living with diabetes, trying to figure it out every single day, just like many of the people that are listening today.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, you ready for some rapid fire?
I'm ready.
So I know you usually give people just one of two options, but mine are a little harder.
Ooh.
But you still have to do them as fast as possible. Don't get time to think.
Are there
Just
prizes?
gotta no, none.
Really?
I'll do the dishes.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
All right. You ready?
I'm ready.
Favorite cuisine?
Ooh, I really
Rapid fire, Pepe.
Asian cuisine.
All right. Favorite
Is
mother
macaroni and cheese a cuisine?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Asian cuisine.
Favorite mother sauce?
Oh, hollandaise by far.
Yeah, you did teach me how to make hollandaise.
Yeah,
It's the best. Number one comfort food.
Macaroni.
There we go.
Yeah.
Now you found it. What's a dish or ingredient you feel like you've mastered? You cannot answer mac and cheese for all of these.
Mac and cheese. Wow. Okay. Let me just think about this for a second. Can you ask that question again?
Nope. What's a dish or ingredient you feel like you've mastered?
I would think roasting vegetables.
Yeah.
Crispy, caramely, with lots of seasonings and different flavors. I love roasted vegetables.
I agree. You are very good at those. All right. Similar question, different vein.
Yes.
What's one that you feel like still gets the better of you?
Oh.
Ingredient or dish?
Yeah, I would say, oh, these are really great questions.
Thank you.
I'm so impressed. I think, I don't know.
Yeah, you're just saying like I'm perfect at everything. I get it.
I'm perfect at everything. Yep. Yeah.
Best work of art that's about food, like a book, a movie, TV show.
Oh, that's a great question. I really like Anthony Bourdain's book. I thought that was Kitchen Confidential. Yeah. So I thought that was really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, last one. You ready?
No.
If you could cook a meal for any famous person, dead or alive, who would it be? What would you make them?
Wow. I think it would be. Can I have two people?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, because these two.
Is it a dinner party? Would the guests get along?
They were a team. I would say it would be Julia Child and Jacques Pepin.
Who's the second one?
Yeah.
Who's the second one?
Jacques Pepin, famous French chef.
Okay.
And he and Julia did so many TV shows together.
Oh, right.
And I think Jacques Pepin is he's the author of a really great book, La Technique. If you can find it, I would buy that. He's a great French chef that's worked in America for the last 40, 50 years. And of course, I'd love to have my mom and dad there. They're both gone. Love to have them there also.
What would you make?
That's a great question. I think I would make something Asian, something
like not a French onion soup.
Yeah, no, I'd make something Asian, and I would either that or something really Jewish.
Yeah.
Something really from my heritage.
Love that.
Yeah.
I think your computer is still going. So I think I have a special guest at the door that's coming in, and you can choose to cut the last bit of this out, but we have been working on with the rest of your children and grandchildren just a little bit of a surprise.
Wow.
It turns out it's really easy to do something behind your back because you're always in the kitchen, so it was not hard at all.
Wow.
So I'm just gonna hit play, and I think the mic will pick it up just fine. But this is for you, Pepe.
The best dish that Pepe makes, in my opinion, is his Pepe bread. I love Pepe bread because it's like giving me the love of like when I taste a bite of something that he makes.
My favorite dish that Pepe makes is his bagels because they're very yummy. Dad, you make so many amazing things, and I'm just gonna go with my very first gut reaction, which is your prime rib. I remember a holiday where you did the prime rib with all the juicy, gooey, saucy goodness and horseradish, and it was so good. And I feel like we always connect our favorite foods with special moments of us together around the table, and I just remember that being a really fun family dinner and so delicious.
My favorite dish that Grandma and Pepe make is probably mac and cheese. The Pepe mac and cheese. Definitely the best. I think it's good because he makes it probably like the best mac and cheese ever. I've never had a better mac and cheese than that.
One of my favorite, most memorable dishes was chicken piccata. It was the first time I had ever had it, and it just kind of blew my mind. It was delicious. And I know I've requested it before in the past, and he's made it again, and yeah, that's definitely one of my favorites.
My favorite dish of Pepe's is his steak, and the reason I like it so much is he actually like seasons it very well, and it's always very tasty. And every time we have it, I get really excited.
My favorite dish that Robert makes is any kind of seafood. I have had trout from him, salmon from him, scallops from him, mussels from him, and every time they just seem to be cooked perfectly and are in the most elegant and amazing sauce.
My favorite dish that Robert makes is chocolate chip cookies because I know they fall in his mixer with love when we're coming to visit.
My favorite dish that Pepe makes is his Pepe mac and cheese because he makes it different every time and it's always so good.
My favorite food that Pepe makes is mac and cheese because he always loves it and is always so happy when he's making it and eating it.
Okay, my favorite thing that Robert makes, and of course I'm his wife, so I get to eat delicious food that he makes every day, and there's a lot of it. But I think my favorite thing is his bread baking. Robert has become the most amazing bread baker. He makes this like barky, nutty, whole grain artisan loaf that is just so fantastic. And he makes a sourdough loaf. He'll make homemade bagels. He makes homemade cinnamon rolls. He's just like, he is fearless in the kitchen when it comes to baking. And I think what is also interesting about this is that when Robert and I were first married, he would say, I love to do classic sauces and savory foods, but I'm not a baker. But you know what? He could match himself up right now against any professional baker. And I think what that has taught me is then never say never. Stay open. Remain unfinished on things, because the thing you're not certain about today might be the thing that you can excel in tomorrow. But Robert's a fantastic baker. I love him for that.
The best dish Pepe makes is his ribs because they're so juicy and just so much barbecue goodness in the mouth and just yumminess.
My favorite thing that Dad makes is potato latkes because they are just a sweet mix of our heritage, and they're indulgent and yummy and crispy, but also they're just made with love because he grew up eating them, and I feel like it is a labor of love to peel all the potatoes and get all the mixture and stand by the pan and fry each batch. So I just love the potato latkes. I look forward to them every year at Hanukkah, and it's a potato latke for me.
So I think it goes without saying, Pepe, that you are very well loved.
Yeah.
Everyone say we love you, Pepe.
We love you, Pepe. That's my man. It's Pepe.
Happy Diabetic Chef signing off.
Yep, signing off.
Of course, you all can't see who's in the Happy Diabetic Kitchen today, but I've got some of my family members who love me. This is the end of our holiday get-together. 2 families have left. 1 family is still here. And Caleb, what a surprise I had. When did you guys do this?
So I said it's super easy. You're in the kitchen the whole time.
Wow. Well, thank you, Caleb. I appreciate you coming into the kitchen and interviewing me. That was a lot of fun.
Me too.
And thanks for letting me share my story.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Any pickup?
That was fun. Jed, why don't you just take us out of here?
Okay, now, time for the morning news. Okay, not on the weather, but a bit foggy in Iowa. At about like 3:48, it's a bit foggy outside, but we can deal with that. Solido! Joining us in Robert Lewis's Happy Diabetic Chef. And that's my daddy signing off.
Thanks for joining us in Chef Robert's Happy Diabetic Kitchen.
Well, I hardly know. The only thing I can say is we will be right back. And like all the suggestions that we've talked about today, remember to consult with a healthcare professional for your personalized advice and guidance tailored to your specific needs and medical history. One size does not fit all. This podcast is not intended to replace professional medical advice. The views expressed on this podcast may not be those of the host or the Happy Diabetic Kitchen. Always consult your medical team if you're planning on making any changes to your health plan, medication, lifestyle, or anything going on with your diabetes. Remember, I'm not a doctor, a certified diabetic educator, or a dietitian of any kind, although I am a father of 3 amazing kids, Attila, Dracula, and Frankenstein. Well, that does make me a psychiatrist of sorts. Well, my mother wanted me to be a doctor. Does that count? And if you're loving the podcast, be sure to hit the subscribe button so you won't miss one single episode. The Happy Diabetic Kitchen is made from scratch, seasoned with love, cooked to perfection. Thanks everyone for listening, and our theme music is by the Happy Diabetic Kitchen Band, and of course our kitchen mascot cat, Tucker. And did you know that cats can make over 100 different sounds? Who knew? Remember everybody, this year better than last year. This month better than last month. This week better than last week. And this day better than yesterday. Thanks for tuning in, and let me leave you with this thought. Happy New Year 2025 to everyone living with diabetes. May this year bring you strength, resilience, and good health. Remember, every small step you take towards your well-being is a big victory. It's huge. Stay positive, embrace self-care, and know that you are never alone on this journey. Here's to a year of empowerment and thriving. And again, Happy New Year, everybody. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. And remember this, at the Happy Diabetic Kitchen, no one loves you more than me.